What's happening, everybody? This is Big Temp with the Cave Cast. I am joined by my co-host. Y'all all know him, you all love him, Mr. Game Tight Mike. What's happening, man?
What's good, man? Same old
Well,
same.
I wanted to come on here because this is a big topic, and I think everybody's, or some have spoken about what's going on, right? Uh, it's it's about this whole situation between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Now, I've heard different sides of this argument, right? And here's the problem I have with it. I did not mind the
Hater.
fact
God damn.
what is going on. We having some
It was
technical
some of
difficulty.
no, it was some on my phone.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, what I
Uh,
was saying is, I don't mind the fact that Stephen A. He does his job well. Let's just put it like that. Sometimes too well, but he does his job well. That's why they pay him. He's controversial sometimes. There's nothing I find particularly wrong with what happened with Stephen A. Smith, right? As everybody knows, there was a situation that happened not too long ago, I want to say last week, at a game where Stephen A. Smith just happened to be in attendance. And I guess the week before he had said something about, you know, LeBron's sons basically getting worked on the court, right? By Tyrese Maxey. So here's the problem. Apparently, LeBron didn't like what Stephen A had to say, right? And I don't know where LeBron thought that Stephen A was coming from when he was critiquing what was happening, but I don't think he was talking about LeBron's son. I think he was actually critiquing the fact that LeBron put his son in this situation to be critiqued.
At
And
least
when
to the
you
degree that he is getting critiqued. Yeah.
exactly, so when you do this, here's the thing. You've got 20 plus years in the league as a star, a superstar. And yet, what you have done is you put a target on your son's back. Not intentionally, but you did it. And since you did that, that means you have to kind of insulate what is going to happen or how people are going to perceive him being on this team. I don't know if y'all recall, but not too long before, Bronny got drafted, not too long before, there was a situation where Bronny, or LeBron, excuse me, had actually put out a tweet, right? And the tweet, listen, I didn't really necessarily like the tweet because I thought it was kind of insulting to a lot of NBA players who were currently in the league at that time. But he did it. And I'm going to read it. Every word, verbatim. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious. Laughing face crying emoji 4 times, right? You put that out there into the world. And now that he is drafted and you've insulted players who were on your team and in the NBA before this, you think we don't remember what the fuck you said. And now that he's being put in situations where he's not necessarily ready and things aren't going the greatest, but I mean, it's not his fault. This was your doing. And now you're pissed off at everybody else who has a job to do as analysts, as commentators. They get paid to do this. Stephen A. Smith, He gets paid to do this. You want them to shut up and not say anything about what you did by putting that target on your child's back. Not saying you're a bad father. That's far from what I'm saying, because I don't have a clue what kind of father you are. But I will say, that does not mean you did not make a mistake in this situation. I'm a parent. I got 4 kids. All of them grown. Game Type Mike is one of them. Put it like this. If my child is in a situation where he's working for somebody and I was to go up to his boss because I didn't like the way he spoke to my child, and he's a grown-ass man, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to get ridiculed. They're going to talk about his ass. That's the real world. So now that Bronny is getting a taste of the real world, and you, Mr. James, you don't like it. You know, it's better to be humble sometimes, even in situations where you have the upper hand. You had the upper hand by getting your child drafted, because a lot of motherfuckers couldn't do that. Not normal everyday people. They can't do that. But you had that, and you let yourself go out here putting shit on the internet and making it harder. All them guys that you said that shit about, do you not think that they all see him when he comes out on the court and they say, yeah, I remember that shit. I'm going to make sure I make it hard on his ass. They going at him. So I don't have a problem with how Stephen A. Smith did it, right? But let's be clear about something. There's all kinds of people out there who don't like Stephen A. Smith. And that's fine. I don't know why. I don't care. But what I will say, if that was me as a man, and LeBron is 6'8", whatever. I'm 5'10". I'm not going to let you step to me that way in public. First of all, you in a game. You in a game.
I can see both sides.
I can, but at the same time, why would you choose that moment to make a spectacle of it?
No, I'm talking about in terms of Stephen A's response or how he chose to handle it.
And
I can see both sides.
And Stephen A didn't choose to handle it the other kind of way where he could have got dirty or said something to him on the side.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Or even in that moment.
Yes,
or even in that moment when he stepped to him. Like, I get it, because he is Stephen A. Like, I get it to an extent.
And what people are forgetting is Stephen A. was in the middle of a contract negotiation at that time, which I find
it had just finished.
No,
it had just finished.
It had just finished, but how would it look after you just signed this contract and now you have this
$100 million?
$100 million? Yeah, LeBron, you knew what the fuck you was doing. LeBron, you knew what the fuck you was doing. You knew what the fuck you was doing. That's why you chose that time to do it. And I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm from the streets, and I understand how that shit worked. You did what you did. It was calculated. You did it on purpose. Simple as that. But me, like I said, as a man, I don't care. You can't step to another man like that. And me, personally, I'm a little hot-headed.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, too. It depends on...
I mean, first of all, I probably would have offered the motherfucker a goddamn Altoid, because you know his breath was hot from running up and down the court all goddamn game.
Bro, I'm so weak.
I'm just saying. And he's breathing down onto my face? Yeah, that's like hot
all sweaty
lava. That's
sweaty
like
and shit.
hot ass fan breath. That's what that is. I mean, you want to talk shit, get loud, breath smelling like hot ass and Cheetos. Fuck that shit. I would have never took that shit from his ass. And listen, I might get my ass whipped, but I'll be damned if I ain't gonna stand up for myself. Now, I ain't saying that's not what Stephen A. did, but he took a different route. He made sure he did what he needed to do, not to fuck up his money. That's what he did. Smart move on him, right? But here's what I will say. Stephen A., after this was all done, he came out and everybody was waiting for him to kind of, say something, bring it out to the public. Everybody wants to hear from Stephen A. about this.
He wasn't going to. He wasn't going to. But the video went viral.
It blew up.
It blew up.
So
yeah.
Here's the deal. With that, Stephen A. went on Gil's Arenas, and they asked him about what happened. He gave his side of the story, and I want everybody to hear exactly what was said during that time.
My point is, rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to stay. Don't leave this game. I need you to see you after the game. That's all he had to say to me. Then, as we speak, he says that. Let's take an example. He said what you just said.
Yeah.
I stand down. My bad. And not only that, I'm going to make sure I go on the air. I ain't looking at it that way.
Now, for context, what he's saying is that LeBron approached him as a father saying, you stay off of my son. Quit talking shit about my son. He's saying that the way LeBron approached him or how he took it, which is what he heard later, is that LeBron took it as he's saying he's doing some bad fathering. He's not doing the right thing as a father, right? And Stephen A. didn't take it as such. He didn't think that's what he was doing. He wasn't talking about Bronny. He was talking about LeBron not doing what he needed to do to keep these fucking vultures off of his ass.
Putting the pressure on him, putting them in the spotlight.
Exactly.
It's really no different. Think about it, Dad. It's really no different than what LeVar was doing with Lonzo.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
The only difference is that obviously LeVar Ball is not LeBron James.
Well, yeah,
right?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it still had an effect. I think it still had an effect on Lonzo, especially early on.
It did.
So,
now he had more to say, and we'll hear it right now.
That's on me. You didn't do that. You said you son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. I was talking about you.
Yeah.
It wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. I believe that he got potential. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential to go pro. I truly believe that. It's going to be tough, but I think he could pull it off. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody.
I am too.
But I was talking about your ass.
Yeah.
You did this. Mm-hmm. You the one that had us
Speak.
reporters.
Speak on it.
As an NBA franchise, all of us got to sit back and be quiet and capitulate to your
That's exactly what I was talking about. LeBron wants everybody to not say shit. People who have a job in that industry. He wants them to write all the great glory and praise and leave Bronny out of it. Just, I wanted to play with my son was what the thing was, right? Bron, that was his dream, to play with his son. And I understand why. Because of what happened with his son with the heart situation, this and that, right? Scared the shit out of him, as it would any parent. Right? So I get that. No problem with that. But when you make it about wherever Bronny goes, that's where I'm willing to go. So whoever picks him, and then you strong arm tactics to make sure that the Lakers and nobody else picks him, you put him in this situation. Bronny's dream was to just hear his name called on, draft night. He didn't give a fuck where it was at. He said as much. I just want to hear my name called on draft night. Right? LeBron's dream was to play with his son. And he made sure that happened. To me, it was a selfish move on LeBron's part, but not because he was only thinking about himself. He was thinking about his son as well, because he wanted to spend that time with him, because it scared the shit out of him about what happened with his kid. I understand that shit. I have no problem with that. But you can't come out and put those things on the internet and degrade other NBA players who are already in the league. And then when he doesn't perform to the level of which you put out there already now get mad at the people who are doing their job as journalists, as commentators, and as analysts. That is wrong.
And not to mention the fact that, like, he's already gonna, the situation, especially with the Lakers, it's already gonna get looked at as the only reason why he got drafted was because of you. Exactly. So he already has that going against him.
Exactly. It's a double whammy.
So you're not helping by you
talking,
doing this.
You put it out there into the universe.
So
like I said, even for somebody,
and not to mention, I was just gonna say, not to mention, like, bro, he was the most talked about rookie this entire draft class
at 55.
And you knew that was going to happen, especially going to the Lakers.
And especially
we knew that was going to happen.
And especially since you're LeBron's son.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
so my whole thing is sometimes it's better to be humble even when you know you don't have to be. But sometimes it's better to be like that. Because now it makes you look more human. He made himself get this situation to where it's been elevated. He did that. He put a target on his son's back. Not intentionally, but he did it. So to me, I don't have a problem with what Stephen A. Smith said. I think he articulated it very well. I think LeBron, as a father, yes, maybe, he took it that way. Maybe he took it as he's going after my kid, I got to protect him. But at the same time, this is a grown-ass man in a grown man's game. He's getting paid millions of dollars. You got to let him take these bullets. You got to let him take all the shots.
You set him up for it.
You got to let him take the shots. You got to let him deal with it. And the more you let him deal with it instead of you intervening into the situation, the better acclimated he will become to this type of pressure in this league. Simple as that. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this, but like I said, this is the type of shit that irritates me with not just LeBron, but people who are in that upper echelon category who think that because they have money and influence, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can say whatever they want. And then nobody's supposed to call them on their bullshit. I'm sorry. Yeah. That ain't me. That is not me. I don't give a fuck who you are.
That's what comes with, being who LeBron James is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or anybody, not even just with him, but anybody that's associated with him.
Exactly. So, I mean, you got to think about it. There's no reason for anybody to say anything, really. It's probably not as bad if that tweet doesn't go out.
That's true.
But you made it worse. Like I said, sometimes it's better to be humble. And I ain't
sometimes it's just better to just keep it stitched lip.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't nobody. LeBron will never see this. Bronny won't either. And let's be clear about something. I'm rooting for Bronny. Because
I think he could be a solid. Yeah, I think look, I don't think he's gonna be like no star or nothing.
No,
right?
I don't either. But we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure, but like just me going off of what I see in his game now and then like potential wise, I can see him being like a Austin Reeves type of player. That was a good role player.
Exactly.
Had a long career in the NBA, and he made some money. Like I could see that in Bronny.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's not bad.
I'm rooting for the kid. But Bronny, you probably need to tell your dad, back off just a little bit. Let me handle this. Let me deal with it. It may suck, and if I need advice, I will come to you and ask you about it. That's what a father is supposed to do. I don't intervene with my kids unless they ask me. They ask me about something, they have a question, I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And if I don't know, maybe I know somebody that does. But other than that, I'm not doing that. Like I said, real world, real problems, real fucking, situations. And sometimes, LeBron, you got to understand something. And this is for anybody that's got money. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That prize that you won is now being criticized about this shit on top of everything else you got to go and deal with as a basketball player. Now you're getting criticized for this. And now it's everybody else's fault except for the person who started this shit.
Yeah, because you don't see none of the NBA other NBA stars doing that with their kids.
No, you don't.
You don't see Melo. You don't see Melo talking about Anthony. And here's the funny thing about Melo with Keon. Is that his name?
I think so.
Keon Anthony or something like that. He's going to Syracuse.
Yeah,
that's Melo's house.
And you know what Melo said? Melo said
he completely was. He had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he said I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. I didn't want to have my influence put on it. I wanted him to make his own choice.
And that's exactly.
Thank you.
That's how it should be. And here's the thing, though. Even though, because I think there's a little pressure there, just because of the fact that Syracuse is Melo.
And his dad won a championship there as a freshman.
Exactly. But it's not. And even though he went to the school, he made the decision to go there. Who's talking about it?
Nobody really.
Not really. About it. Not really. When it happened,
right.
There was a couple of little headlines here and there, but ain't nobody because Melo's not pushing it. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
And it's nothing wrong with, because I don't necessarily hate what LeBron did in terms of I get it because it's probably a natural instinct, right, as a dad. But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong just admitting that you made a mistake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Pull back some.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're a bad father or nothing like that. It has nothing to do with it.
No, but let's be honest. You made a situation worse by putting that tweet out and thinking we didn't have receipts for this shit. You did this,
especially on Twitter. That's the worst place.
The worst place.
Worst. Yeah, that is.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Matter of fact, I think I'm pretty much done. But I will say this.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything.
At the end of the day, Bronny James, I hope you have a wonderful, long career, even after your dad has gone out the NBA. And I hope you get a chance to prove your worth by your work ethic and your own merit. And I hope that no matter what has happened with this situation, that you get a chance to shine. Nobody else should be able to interfere with that. It should be off of your own work. And I hope that happens for you. I really do. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm Big Temp. That's Game Type Mike. And this is the Cave Cast. We hope you guys join us again. We'll have some more content coming real soon. Thanks, everybody.